This week on Great British Menu.
Backs.
3 of Central Region's top chefs. Daniel Smith, who's focused and competitive.
My biggest gadget is this bad boy here.
Andrew Scott, whose food is about flavour and finesse.
I want to smash both of them.
And daring and innovative Danny Gill.
I can't get this one well.
In the year the nation celebrated the Queen's 90th birthday, the chefs are paying tribute to the everyday Great Britain's honoured throughout her reign and competing for a chance to cook at a grand banquet at the Palace of Westminster. Danny's fish course received the highest score so far from veteran Angela, an impressive 9.
Definitely worthy of something going through the banquet, so well done.
Okay.
Giving him a 2-point lead on Daniel. Andrew remains bottom of the leaderboard. He must plate a winning main course to stay in the running.
I'm going to be cooking top of my game today.
But with Daniel determined to catch leader Danny,
I must pressurise that pressure cooker because I want to get high scores.
the competition
Go hard or go home.
is getting serious.
Needs to be nailed absolutely bang on or it's home time. Stressful, isn't it?
The chefs are competing to create dishes that are a celebration of the complete transformation of British cuisine during the Queen's historic reign. And a fitting legacy to our modern Elizabethan age. Judging this week is veteran Angela Hartnett. An MBE herself, she's expecting exceptional contemporary main courses.
There's very little in it at this stage. I want to see some great dishes today, so one of their dishes gets to the banquet.
Danny, you're smashing it in front at the minute, mate.
Yeah, happy with my score with the fish yesterday. I've put yesterday behind me. I'm going to get my head down, nail my dish and score really highly today.
I'm just going to go for it, you know. I'm just going to do what I do, pack my flavours, go for that. I've got to deliver.
Good luck. Yeah, you too.
Andrew Scott is first. So far, he hasn't plated the contemporary, show-stopping dishes veteran Angela is looking for and is in 3rd place. But he's staying positive.
There's only a couple of points margin. I've definitely got it in me to catch up the other guys. I'm not going to give up.
Morning, Andrew. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Chef.
Not feeling down after yesterday and
It's
stuff?
only a couple of points. I'm going to
Thanks,
smash them today.
All right, brilliant. So what's the dish today?
Mum's Balmoral birthday venison.
OK, tongue twister.
This is all inspired about the Queen's 90th birthday.
Right.
I'm cooking some of her favourite things, which are Balmoral venison from her estate. I'm going to mince the trimming and make a ragout and simply roast the loin.
What are you doing with these blackberries?
I'm just going to freeze them quickly with some liquid nitrogen.
OK, it's a bit more of a modern turn, I
Yeah,
suppose.
just a modern twist on it. Hispy cabbage.
Yeah.
I'm going to sous vide this in the water bath with juniper and bacon butter. The garnish is all based around forest floor,
Right.
where the deer are. So I've
Yeah.
got mushrooms, I've got pine. I'm going to serve a spiced bread sauce with it as well, and some game chips with pine salt.
Oh, that sounds interesting. So what are you doing with the Dubonnet?
I'm going to make a cocktail.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of research into what the Queen's favourite tipple is, and occasionally she'll have a Dubonnet and gin cocktail.
OK, perfect. Good
Yeah,
luck.
Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to tasting Andrew's dish. You know, all the flavours work together. The bread sauce, the game chips, the venison, the blackberries. But he has to make sure that he does not overcook that venison.
Next up, Daniel Smith. He's cooked consistently and is just 1 point behind leader Danny. He's confident he can make it to the judging chamber on Friday.
I think I'm in a great position. I've just got to deliver the best flavour I can give. I've just got to show Angela exactly what I'm made of.
Morning, Daniel. How are you?
Very well.
And how are you feeling generally in the competition?
I'm happy where I'm positioned at the moment. Got it all to prove still. There's still 2 courses to go, so...
Tell me the name of this dish.
Great British heritage, our heritage of roast beef.
Right.
So it's a bit of a play on a Sunday lunch, I suppose. Once again, is all my Norfolk
Take it out,
produce.
mate.
So I've got a lovely shin of beef there, which is representing the ordinary people that have received the awards from the Queen.
Yeah.
And I suppose the fillet is the Queen, is the luxury. From the reign, the shin of beef was regarded as the ordinary thing, and now it's probably gone the other way around.
Who'd have thought that now we're putting it on a menu? What do you charge, 50 quid a head for that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
OK.
So I'm going to make a cauliflower puree. I've got some fantastic Romanesque as well, certainly visual.
So what are you doing with the potatoes?
I've got some red desiree here, great for mashing. I'm going to add that to choux pastry and deep fried with beef dripping.
And what do you call that traditionally? Pomme dauphine or something?
Pomme dauphine,
yeah.
So they look like a roast potato, but obviously they are drastically different.
What do you think of this, Andrew?
Sounds like a luxury Sunday lunch.
Good.
With French roast potatoes.
Oh, he's cheeky, isn't he? So Daniel's dish, I like the way it shows how meat was 60, 80 years ago and how we use it now. But he has to make sure that shin of beef is cooked long enough. Otherwise, it's going to be tough.
Last up and top of the leaderboard is Daniel Clifford's protege, Danny Gill. He served technically difficult and complex dishes all week, and it paid off with his fish course scoring 9, the highest mark of the week.
I've cooked my heart out on the past 2 courses, really pushed myself. I've got to keep on going, and hopefully I can see it all the way through to the judges' chamber.
Morning,
Chef.
Danny. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, feel great, but not taking anything for granted. Make sure I don't slip up.
So what's the name of the dish?
Fallow the dream.
Fallow the dream,
Yeah,
OK.
fallow deer using venison. Inspiration behind this dish was my dad. He's a chef in the RAF for 25 years, all over the world and at various royal banquets as well.
Fantastic. So did he cook for the Queen at one stage?
He's cooked for the Queen, yeah.
Brilliant.
He's cooked for the Queen on a couple of occasions. Returning troops coming back from tour, Wellington was always the main course at a banquet.
So this is going to be a venison Wellington?
Yeah, it's very traditional. I've been guilty of maybe doing a little too much with the food
Yeah.
past couple of courses.
Yeah.
So there's no bells or whistles. This is just real classic, solid cooking.
And you're using some lovely seps here, I
Yeah,
see.
some British seps. This is going to be in a duck cell and roasted. British truffle as
Yeah.
well, so a little bit of luxury. Going to be making a beautiful caramelised slurry pure.
And
I've got
pears.
these.
Oops.
Yeah.
crikey.
Yeah. So we've got these beautiful British.
They are top notch.
So beautiful British blush pears. I'm
Yeah.
going to be serving pine and pear puree.
Right. You've got pine as well, haven't you? And venison.
Pine and venison, yeah.
Wow, what does his dish sound like to you?
Sounds lovely. I love
Yeah.
a Wellington. You can't beat it. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully I can today.
So Danny's dish, cooking this venison Wellington, it can be a risk, because until you cut into it, you really don't know that it's cooked correctly.
As the chefs get cooking, they're firmly focused on the competition.
What dish would you want to get on the banquet if you could get one on?
All of them.
Your governor, Daniel Clifford, he got a dish to the banquet.
Yeah.
Do you think you feel a bit more under pressure because you've sort of got Daniel to represent as well as yourself?
I think every chef wants a main course at the banquet. It's the main event.
For Daniel's refined roast beef dish, he's searing the beef shin, which he'll then braise in a pressure cooker with stock, red wine, vegetables and herbs. But it's what he's not cooking that's raising eyebrows.
You're not doing Yorkshire pudding with it?
No Yorkshires today.
But what's the Sunday lunch without a Yorkshire
Well,
pudding?
it's not. I'm not pitching it as a Sunday roast. It's roast beef a couple of ways, so...
Do you want me to make some Yorkshire pudding for you?
He's also making choux pastry for his Dauphine potatoes.
All right, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. So this is my choux pastry. I'm
There's a lot
baking...
of choux pastry, isn't there?
Yeah, it's quite a big batch, but I've got my potato here I'm going to
So
mash.
how do you make these then? So you bake them?
A little bit of salt on them, add it to the choux paste. I'm just going to combine the two together, a bit of nutmeg, salt and pepper, and then literally just deep fry them, doing a quenelle in beef dripping, obviously complementing my shin and my fillet.
And you're not worried that it's a French-style potato?
But it's a different remake on a potato,
Yeah.
and it's also quite light.
OK, good luck, Daniel. We love beef and potatoes.
Thank you.
In third place, Andrew is hoping he'll score more highly with a complex main dish which pays attention to the brief.
I've got lots going on. It's hopefully going to look quite simple on the plate, but there's a lot of processes. I'm going to go for it.
Andrew's serving venison from the Queen's Balmoral estate 2 ways, making a ragout using the trim and roasting the loin. He's serving both with a rich venison sauce.
I feel that today is a real big chance for me to catch up points-wise, and I want to come top. I don't want to come second to Danny either. I want to smash both of them.
Andrew's going head-to-head with Danny, who's also using venison.
I know we've got a couple of the same ingredients, but I think our food styles are quite different, so...
Well, this is nothing like what I've done the past 2 courses.
Danny's opting for a more simple dish. Although he's leading, he's dropped points on previous courses for overly complicated cooking.
Angela's highlighted to maybe not go as far sometimes with the amount of elements on the plate. Yeah. This one I feel was probably my simplest, so I hope it doesn't go from one extreme to another.
Danny's under extra pressure as his dish has personal significance. Wellington is a speciality of his dad, a former RAF chef.
I don't want to let my old man down. He's cooked for the Queen, for all the royal family, servicemen and women, up and down the country at banquets, so, you know, I can't get this one wrong.
Danny travelled to Anglesey in North Wales to meet a servicewoman and Great Britain who he hopes to honour with his dish.
Coming back to an RAF base where I've spent many years with my dad, it's kind of all bringing it back.
Up until 2015, RAF Valley was home to the Search and Rescue Squadron, which operated over the treacherous Irish Sea.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Danny.
Hi, lovely to meet you.
Pleasure to meet
Danny
you.
met Sergeant Rachel Robinson, who was awarded the Queen's Gallantry Medal for her part in a daring sea rescue.
There was a fisherman that had been injured on a fishing vessel. He had a really bad head injury. Unfortunately, however, the weather was really bad and we had 30 to 40-foot waves to contend with. And that's me.
Of course, like I've seen out of a film.
I'd been bounced off the vessel probably 6 or 7 times at that point.
After being thrown against the boat for more than an hour, Rachel was finally able to get aboard, winch the injured man into the helicopter and fly him to hospital.
This is the Queen's Gallantry Medal. I'd take this on for the whole of Search and Rescue, really, because I think anybody on duty that day would have done exactly the same as what I did, and the crew did.
It's stunning.
Thank you.
As one of the Queen's Great Britons, Danny was keen his dish got Rachel's approval.
Smells gorgeous.
Listening to your stories, it's kind of given me the extra inspiration that I needed. They say ordinary people doing extraordinary things, but I think you've got to be pretty extraordinary to throw yourself off a helicopter.
I think my job's easy compared to this, to be honest. Burn everything.
Maybe we should do a job swap then.
Yeah, definitely. OK, going for it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is so tender. That is gorgeous.
Do you think I'll get that just to the banquet?
Yeah, definitely. Awesome, mate.
Thank you.
Really good.
In the kitchen, Danny is making his celeriac puree by blending caramelised celeriac, chicken stock and cream with browned butter. Although he's cooking a simpler dish than his previous courses, he's still adding modern touches, compressed pears, and combining lightly cooked pears with pear and pine liquor to make a second puree.
So how come you're not making a sauce for your venison?
Heavy sauces, it's quite old school. There's 2 purees on the plate, there's enough moisture. I want the flavour of the pine, I want the flavour of the pear.
So does it smell like air freshener?
No,
You sure?
positive. But the sweetness and the kind of earthiness all really works really, really well together.
What do you think? You've got some nice beef gravy, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got some lovely gravy coming up out of here.
Danny's ready to assemble his Wellington for the oven. It requires exact cooking to ensure the venison is medium rare inside and the pastry is crisp on the outside.
OK, Danny?
Hello.
What are you burning?
The stove.
Oh, OK, brilliant. Oh, this is you're searing off your venison.
Yeah, just searing that off, got my pancakes.
And this is the duck
Pastry.
cell you've made with the seps, yeah?
There's sep, button mushroom, truffle, shallot, thyme, a little bit of garlic.
You've obviously timed this, haven't you?
Yes.
So what is it, how many minutes in the oven?
12, and then 8 minutes minimum resting time.
OK,
Pastry
yeah.
cooked nice and crisp, no soggy bits. I've practiced it, not necessarily in these ovens, but poor workman blames his tools. I've just got to nail this one.
Good, looking forward to tasting that.
Thank you.
For his refined take on roast beef, Daniel is preparing cauliflower puree and roasting shallots in butter and sugar to accompany his beef 2 ways.
You got horseradish sauce?
No horseradish there, my man, no.
So it's roast beef with no horseradish,
Yeah,
no Yorkshire.
correct.
I'd send it back.
But he's worried the pressure cooker isn't working properly. If the shin of beef isn't cooked thoroughly, it'll be tough to eat.
I'm concerned with my pressure cooker, it's just chucking it out the side and not out the top.
Is it a case of having all the gear and no idea on this?
Could be. Maybe I don't know how to put the lid on right. Is this going to work?
I hope so, for your sake, mate. It's stressful, isn't it?
So Andrew could be catching me up, you know, depending on how he delivers on this course, and also depending on how I deliver on this course. So I'm as pressurised as that pressure cooker because I want to get high scores.
Andrew is hoping to impress with contemporary cooking by freezing blackberries in liquid nitrogen and making a juniper and bacon butter.
That's going to go in with the cabbage and cook in the water bath. And then take it out and pan fry it with more of the butter. So it's really intense. Sounds lovely.
He's also adding a modern pine seasoning to traditional thinly cut game chips. He hopes this will elevate his dish, which is inspired by the Queen's birthday.
That's quite classic, isn't it, the old game chip?
Yeah, I've done a couple of classic accompaniments, and it's for the Queens. Instead of just seasoning these with just normal salt, I've got some pine, dried it in the dehydrator, blitzed it out with some sea salt. I'm just going to season the potato chips with those.
It smells delicious, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Nice. OK,
just
so
a
there'll
little
be like
twist.
a little seasoning. You feeling confident?
Yeah, I'm always
Yeah,
confident.
good.
I have to.
Very little in it, remember?
Yeah,
Good.
Thank
Good
you,
luck.
Chef.
Danny is first to plate up his venison Wellington dish, inspired by his RAF dad and honoured military servicemen and women.
Backs, backs, backs.
Still running around, Danny.
Yeah, it's the only way. Go hard or go home.
He's hoping a nod to mentor and GBM veteran Daniel Clifford will help him win points.
These are the same plates Chef used for chicken dish on the Great British Menu.
Mr Clifford.
Mr. Clifford, yeah. So,
A lot of pressure on those plates, then.
yeah, good karma.
First onto the plates is the unusual pear and pine puree.
So air freshener and pear, yeah?
The vegetable accompaniments include raw and sautéed ceps, pear compressed in pine liquor, and black truffle. Next is celeriac puree.
This is a lot simpler than in my other courses, but the technicality of all the cooking needs to be nailed absolutely bang on, or it's home time.
Finally, it's time to carve the venison Wellington. It's only now Danny can tell if it's cooked correctly. He garnishes with wood sorrel.
What do you think, Daniel?
Looks amazing.
It's got some really lovely ingredients to go together, I think.
Right, let's go and taste it.
I think the venison Wellington needed 1 or 2 more minutes resting, just as the blood's just starting to come out here, which isn't great.
Happy with the cooking of the venison?
It maybe could have gone a little bit longer, but I personally quite like my meat quite well.
And what about your pastry? Cooked enough for you?
There doesn't seem to be any soggy bits in there.
There is definitely some crunch to it, but obviously it could maybe be slightly crispier.
You're happy that you didn't put a sauce on there?
Yeah.
The caramelised celeriac puree?
Yeah.
Consistency, flavour, works for you?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
I'm sort of missing the sauce. I quite like a bit of sauce. Do you?
Yeah.
Are you happy with the pear puree and the decompressed pears?
Yeah, I think pear works really, really well with the venison. It's a nice freshness.
I think that, you know, the ceps are beautiful. I actually really like the pear on this. It doesn't taste like air freshener, that's for sure.
Yeah? You're going to take that back?
No, it don't.
I understand the story with your father being in the Air Force. How, as a guest, would you understand that on the plate?
It's a banquet for special people. There's special ingredients. It's a special...
I think if he'd have just had a story or a photo of his dad, I'm a bit lost if I was at the banquet.
Yeah.
What would you mark it?
I think there's a lot of skill on that plate. Around an 8.
Hi, bird.
Yeah, how's it going?
Did she say anything?
To give nothing away.
Just the normal.
Yeah.
The norm.
Poker face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew is next to plate up his Balmoral venison dish, honouring the Queen's 90th birthday. He's hoping modern techniques and standout presentation will win him more points. He seasons his game chips with pine salt.
Is this the Queen's china, Andrew?
It is. I went up and she let me borrow it.
Did she? That was nice of her.
First onto his regal plates is the venison ragu. Then hispy cabbage cooked with juniper and bacon butter. The venison loin tops the ragu. Girole mushrooms are added as garnish, with liquid nitrogen blackberries and wood sorrel. Venison sauce is presented in a hip flask. And the dish is served with a drink.
What's in the cocktail?
Gin and a fortified sweet wine with a bit of lemon. So, Chef, this is Mum's Balmoral birthday venison.
And what's in here?
This is just a knife to eat your meat with, and it's just got the 90th engraved in there for her birthday.
Right, you bring the plate and the sauce. I'm sure the Queen would have had a butler. You've let me down.
I'm really sorry.
Right, let's go. The hip flask is obviously a nod to the Balmoral estate.
Yeah.
He's got the beautiful napkin, the china, the engraving on the knife. It's a real showstopper in terms of presentation.
Ooh, that's strong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Happy with the cooking of the venison?
Yeah. You know, I've just roasted it quite traditionally in a pan.
Flavour of the meat's lovely. You can really taste the marinade.
Lovely meat. For me, I'm not so keen on the ragu. I don't see why you'd need that.
I'm happy with the ragu.
You wanted it that rich? The sauce, you wanted that sweetness coming through?
Yeah, definitely. It needs a bit of sweetness because it's such a rich meat.
What about the game chips?
They're nice.
It's the good crunch. They're not oily or greasy.
And the cabbage, you wanted it crispy?
It's sort of al dente. It's got a bit of crunch, which is nice on the dish for a little bit of extra texture.
Find the bread sauce, touch overpowering.
That is got some serious oomph to that.
There's a lot of spice going on here.
I might pull back on the spice in the bread sauce.
Do you think this is your best course yet?
Yeah, so far this is the one I'm most happy with.
Would you be happy to serve this dish at the banquet?
I think it would fit really well.
How'd it go, my man?
Boys, yeah, good.
Yeah, happy?
I was happy with it. It looked good. So still, again, I keep learning every time I do a course in here. So, you know, I think it's the same for all of us, isn't it?
Daniel is last to plate up. He's hoping his great British heritage beef will secure enough points to give him a lead over Danny. Beef sauce is presented in silverware, along with his Dauphine potatoes. On his plate, Daniel serves cauliflower puree, butternut squash, and Romanesco broccoli. Next is the shin of beef, which he was worried hadn't cooked properly.
You happy with the cooking of all the meat?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Roasted shallots, beef fillet, and shallot puree complete the dish.
OK, Daniel, name of your dish.
Great British heritage.
Really lovely, yeah, really grand.
Yeah, I love the cloches. Makes me feel all patriotic.
So we think beef's going to win it over venison?
We'll see.
All right, let's go. A little bit of sauce.
Yeah.
Sauce is lovely. It's got a good consistency. But I don't know if it's beefy enough.
So how long did we cook the shin
So this
for?
will cook for best part of 2 hours. Your pressure cooker.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
I think he's absolutely nailed that.
Good skill.
That cauliflower puree is absolutely stunning.
Yeah?
And the Romanesco.
It's slightly unusual. Not everyone's aware of that vegetable.
And then the fillet of beef.
Not too pink.
These pomme dauphines are a little heavy.
He's trying to elevate for a Sunday sort of lunch dish. I prefer roast potato, to be honest.
Your pomme dauphine. Did you feel you need any sort of crunch or texture to it?
I like the textures together.
The texture of the shallot's a little bit slimy in your mouth.
I just don't think it needs that shallot.
If I was at the banquet, do you think it would tell a story?
I believe so, yes. I've got the cloche. I feel that goes together well.
I'm just not sure if it's special enough for the banquet.
How you doing there, boys?
I don't, mate.
How did you feel it went in there?
Who knows? I don't know. You know as well as I do, you don't get nothing back. I need to catch up with Danny.
Oh, I don't want to slip up on any points. I don't want to start chasing you boys now.
I need the best mark out of the three of us, to be honest, to be in with a fighting chance tomorrow.
How are we feeling after the main courses?
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Well, I'm going to start with you, Danny, and follow the dream. I liked your pear puree, you know, that's Danny put in his little twist. The celeriac puree, it was delicious. The duxelle was really tasty. The marriage of all those flavours worked well together. And I really thought the dish overall, it just looked stunning. However, your venison, as you said, needed a touch more cooking, and I did feel the pastry was a little bit soggy. How could we tell it was related to your father in the RAF? That nod to the Queen.
Okay.
Where's the brief? Nowhere. Daniel, with your dish, Great British Heritage. Love the cauliflower puree, love the shallot puree. And even though everyone was ribbing you about your French potatoes, they were lovely, and your beef was cooked nicely. But was it a roasted shallot? Really should have had that caramelisation on it. Romanesco, just thought it was a bit bland. And I don't think you hit the brief. I understood we have the flag, but if we took away the extra bits, what did that plate of food tell me? Andrew, your dish. Marm's Balmoral birthday venison. I'm not sure you needed the ragu with that. You know, tasty as it was, it felt a lot of meat on that plate. And the bread sauce, far too spicy. It really sort of killed it a bit. But, like the flavour of the cabbage, so that was great with the streaky bacon coming through. The venison, nicely cooked venison. The chips, I love them. You have really thought about that brief. You feel the Queen, you feel Balmoral. Now to the scores. Danny, I'm going to start with you. And I'm giving you an 8. Daniel, I'm scoring you a 7. Andrew, I'm giving you a score of 8. Despite a few technical things, you, out of everyone, have nailed that brief. Chefs, it's so tight now, OK? Dessert is the final course. It's not just about good cooking. Relate it to that brief. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, boys.
Oh, mate, getting closer and closer.
Well done. Great score.
With one course to go, Danny remains in the lead. Daniel is 2 points behind, and Andrew is in third place.
I'm definitely going from strength to strength. I'm trying to eliminate stupid mistakes, and hopefully I can build on an 8.
All good fun. Oh. I'm not in a bad position at all, but it's still to play for on this last course.
I've never done anything so hard in my life. It's still got another one to go, and it's even harder than that one.
I'm over the moon to be top of the leaderboard still, but I need to push even harder now. Make sure I'm there at the end of the week.